And Israel is committing piracy, stealing our taxpayers' money, preventing health people from getting their salaries, preventing the Palestinian Authority from... You shut up, please. Let me answer. Can you shut up? Don't interrupt me, please.
Well, you don't
or I will be
answer,
interrupting
though,
you each time you speak. You shut up. You are not the one who is asking me the questions. You're not the anchor, so shut up, please.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are good. Guys, today we're going to be reacting to Douglas Murray clashes with Palestinian leader in ferry debate. Guys, let's get right down to this.
After doubling down on his rejection of a two-state solution and pandering to hardliners in his party, has Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu given up on peace, and should the rest of the world give up on the two-state solution as long as he remains in power? Joining me to debate this is the author of The War on the West, Douglas Murray, and the Palestinian National Initiative leader, Mustafa Barghouti. Mr. Barghouti, let me start with you. Your reaction to my interview there with Mark Regev.
Well, my reaction is that Mr. Regev speaks about Palestinians have to give up. Give up what? I don't understand. And he wants peace. He wants security without ending the Israeli occupation. He ignores the basic facts, which is that Israel has conducted ethnic cleansing against 70% of the Palestinian people, forcing them to become refugees, and is depriving them from coming home for all these 75 years. Second, is ignoring that Israel is conducting the longest occupation in modern history, 56 years of occupation of West Bank and Gaza. He's ignoring the fact that we are all suppressed by Israel, not only in Gaza, but also in the West Bank. We are being killed in the West Bank. We are being killed in the Gaza Strip. He speaks about that the numbers of victims is incorrect. I mean, this is very silly, because I think the health ministry has issued the names of everybody that is killed with their ID numbers and their age and everything. So unfortunately, what we've heard is the same thing that Israel has been doing for all the last 75 years, repeating the same thing and expecting different results. A very wise Jewish man by the name of Albert Einstein said something very wise. He said, it is insanity to keep repeating the same thing and expect different results.
Well, actually, Actually, I can tell you he didn't actually say that, but it's a quote often ascribed to him. But the point is there. Douglas Murray.
But the point is correct.
Okay, I'll take the point. There's no record of him ever actually saying it. Let me ask you, Douglas, about this. You and I debated this a lot. You have a very firm position, completely behind Israel, which I completely understand. Does anything that's going on now in terms of the withdrawal of so much support now from allies of Israel, does any of it give you pause for thought about how this actually ends? Because I'm not sure the Israeli government knows how this ends, and that concerns me.
Well, I think the Israeli government knows better than most people, certainly most pundits, about how it might end. I think that there are several things I have to say in reply to Mr. Barghouti, by the way. First of all, when I was on this show last with Mr. Barghouti, he said that he hadn't said something he said, and we actually had to issue a confirmation on the program subsequently that he had in fact said the words that he had denied saying, but that had come out of his mouth praising the so-called martyrs. Let me say two other things. Firstly, on the question of the West Bank, frankly, in Israel, there are very few people in Israel who believe that even if you can have a two-state solution, now is a good time to talk about it. I was in the Knesset, the parliament, earlier today, and among other people saw the head of the left-wing opposition, Mr. Lapid. He doesn't believe this is a time to speak about a two-state solution. Why? Because if you gave a state to the Palestinians, and don't forget, Israel did give a state to the Palestinians in 2005 in the Gaza, and look what we got from it. The world got its money ransacked, the Hamas leaders making themselves fantastically rich and then sending rockets into Israel. So the first thing is, even the most left-wing figures in Israeli politics don't think this is a good time to talk about the two-state solution, because among other things, it would suggest that there was a reward for the terrorists of October the 7th, and the reward for the actions of that day was to double down on giving the Palestinians yet another state. The second thing that has to be said about that, if I may, is that on the subject of the West Bank, if you go to the West Bank, as I was again the other night, and if you stand in the hills overlooking Israel, you will see from those hills the lights of Tel Aviv, the city I'm standing in at the moment. You'll see the lights of Haifa, and you'll see the lights of Ben Gurion Airport. Now, knowing what Israel knows about what Hamas did with the Gaza, making it into a military infrastructure and firing rockets at southern and central Israel, why on earth would the Israelis give another piece of territory which they didn't have security over in the West Bank to another Palestinian faction, which would have the ability to fire similar rockets at every single part of Israel? And I need to add one other thing, quickly. On the subject of the Palestinian Authority, many people outside Israel seem to think that the Palestinian Authority is, as it were, the peaceable wing of Hamas, or is the sort of Sinn Féin to Hamas's IRA. That is not the case. The Palestinian Authority, as well as being a deeply corrupt entity, which I don't need to tell Mr. Barghouti about, he knows well about that, as well as being a deeply corrupt entity, the Palestinian Authority that is funded by the Israelis, as well as the Europeans, the British, and the rest of the international community, pays salaries to terrorists. It pays salaries to the people who kill people in Israel. And that is something absolutely impossible to make peace with.
I just heard Mr. Barghouti use the word disgusting, so Mr. Barghouti, over to you.
It is disgusting. It is
well,
disgusting.
Mr. Morgan, I think you have to be fair. You can't bring Mark Regev and give him like 10 or 15 minutes and then bring another pro-Israeli and make him share the time with me. You have to be fair in giving me enough time, because what we've just heard is absolutely rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. Just repeating Israeli propaganda, just repeating false, and I don't agree with him that he has verified what I said. I don't agree with him totally. And he is repeating the same aggressive and fascist speech. They don't want two states. What do they want to do with the 7 million people? 7 million Palestinians live on the land of historic Palestine, equal to the number of Jewish people. What is the solution? They don't want two-state solution? Fine, let's have one democratic state with equal rights for everybody. But no, Netanyahu and his fascist government, he has fascists in his government. He has Smotrich and Ben-Gvir, who call themselves fascist. These people don't want to see a two-state solution, don't want to see one democratic state. So their solution is exactly what they are trying to do in Gaza now, which is genocide and ethnic cleansing. Genocide. It is genocide what's happening, because we are talking about 32,000 Palestinian people killed, including those under the rubble, and 64,000 people injured, 63,000 people injured. That is 4% of the population. If that had happened in the United States of America, you would be talking about 12 million people killed or injured. Is that acceptable?
Okay.
Is it not that Israel is occupying the West Bank?
Okay,
Isn't the United States of America saying that there is occupation?
Okay,
the
Mr.
international law says there is occupation.
I hear you. I'm going to go back to Douglas. So Ephraim Mervis, the UK's chief rabbi, has said that using the word genocide to describe Israel's actions in Gaza is an increasingly frequent, disingenuous misappropriation of the term. He said the use of the term was a moral inversion which undermines the memory of the worst crimes in human history and designed to tear open the still gaping wounds of the Holocaust.
Let me just quickly say this about the genocide thing. Of course that's the case. Mr. Barghouti likes to throw around the word fascist. Fine, I'll throw it back at you, Mr. Barghouti. Not just a fascist, but an apologist for terrorists. Fine. We can all throw around slurs at each other. But more important is the fact that you said that I had told lies. Unlike you, I don't tell lies. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Unlike you, I don't speak out of two sides of my mouth. I'm speaking out of one side of my mouth, and it's direct at you. So let me just correct what you just said. You said what I said were lies. Unfortunately for you, I have here with me the amended Palestinian Prisoners Law of 2004. Now, Mahmoud Abbas, who now runs the Palestinian Authority, signed this into law. This means that, and I'm quoting Article 2 here, prisoners, anyone incarcerated in the occupation's prisons for his participation in the struggle against the occupation will be given a salary by the let me finish my point. Will be given a salary by the Palestinian Authority. Oh, you think they're freedom fighters? Well, let me tell you another couple of things then. Because everyone watching pays their taxes, and some of their taxes go to the Palestinian Authority. Here's the budget, the Palestinian Authority in 2018. This is the PA's own budget, Mr. Barghouti, so don't lie about that. $162 million was allocated to
You
the
can't
Prisoners and
accuse me of
Released
lying
Prisoners
when I didn't
Ministry.
say anything.
In 2018, approximately $193 million was given by the PA to families of the martyrs. There is an increasing list, depending on how many Jews you've killed, of the amount of money you get. Is the Palestinian Authority doing that or not, Mr. Barghouti? Because I have their budget in my hand.
Okay, Mr. Barghouti, out of respect for fairness, answer that question.
Yeah, but I am sure your guest has to be a bit polite. You can't keep saying
Well,
that
you can
I
answer
am
that
lying.
one question.
Well, I will answer it. Yes, they support the prisoners' families. They support as form of social security support. They support the. I mean, nobody.
social
Even if you
security.
consider, even if you consider somebody is doing something wrong, you cannot punish his children and his wife in an act of collective punishment.
This is
That's what they are
salaries to the
calling
people
about.
who do
No,
the
no, no.
terror,
Wait,
as you
let me
well
finish.
know, Mr.
And then
Barghouti.
you said something wrong also. Palestinian Authority really does not. I don't defend the Palestinian Authority, but I'm telling you, 90% of the Palestinian Authority budget comes from taxpayers, from Palestinian people, and only 10% comes from
And the
foreign
Israeli
aid.
government.
In contrary to, no. And Israel is committing piracy, stealing our taxpayers' money, preventing health people from getting their
can't answer
salaries,
the question.
preventing the Palestinian
answer the
Authority
question.
from. You shut up, please. Let me answer. Can you shut up? Don't interrupt me, please.
Well, you
Or
don't
I will be
answer, though, do
interrupting
you?
you
You
each
don't
time you
answer.
speak. You shut up. You are not the one who is asking me the questions. You're not the anchor, so shut up, please. And let me answer. I am saying what you
Would be
are
good. Why don't
trying
you
to do
answer?
here is to mislead the discussion. I am the main discussion here is there Israeli occupation of Palestinian land or not? If people are occupied, what does international law says? Law says that people who are under occupation have the right to struggle against their occupiers using all
it
forms.
doesn't.
No. That's what the UN says. You can't deviate the discussion. And the main fact here is that the problem we have is that Israel is occupying Palestinian land, and Israel is oppressing Palestinian people. Since 1967, Israel conducted 1 million arrests against the 7 million people who are living there. How could this be acceptable?
Okay,
What we see here is the
Doug,
worst
okay.
and most difficult
Mr. Barghouti,
occupation
I
in
am
modern
the, just to
history.
be clear, just to be clear,
Unless you tell
I am
me
the
that
anchor.
occupation is okay.
I am the anchor, and I'm now going to Douglas respond to that. Douglas.
Two things.
Is
First of all,
occupation
Mr.
okay?
Barghouti
Answer me.
talks about the
Is
Israelis
Israel
not
Mr. Barghouti,
wanting
let
a
Mr.
two-state
Murray
solution.
speak, please.
Mr. Barghouti
answer
doesn't
me-
want a
Mr.
two-state
Barghouti,
solution.
question.
He
Mr.
and-
Are
Barghouti,
they
let Douglas
occupying
Murray
us or
respond.
not?
Don't talk over him.
Yeah, okay, fine, please.
Mr. Barghouti doesn't want a two-state solution because he doesn't want a Jewish state. He wants the river
That's
to the
not
sea
true.
to be a Palestinian state, ruled by him and his corrupt friends. But secondly, he cannot answer the question I've put to him repeatedly. This
think
is the
the main
PA budget. It rewards terrorism. And let me just finish, Mr. Barghouti, since I allowed you that right in the end. This budget not only extends to rewarding the people who carry out acts of terrorism against Jews and the families of people who do, thus incentivizing terror, and that's the Palestinian Authority.
You
The
are
Palestinian
deviating the
Authority has
discussion.
also now the Palestinian Authority has also now committed to pay salaries to the fighters and the terrorists of Hamas from October the 7th and their families. So tell me, please, Piers, or Mr. Barghouti, where is the good negotiating partner on the Palestinian side here exactly?
Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap this by saying this. I don't think there is a good negotiating party on either side. I don't think you can possibly have peace with Hamas still in place. I don't think we're going to achieve peace with Benjamin Netanyahu in charge of Israel and his hardline right-wing cabinet. So if you want my honest view, I think we need a completely clean broom of leadership. And that's the only way this is ever going to get resolved. But I appreciate you both for coming on together and debating it passionately. Thank you both for your time.
Guys, I totally agree with the uncle. I mean, I don't think there can be peace with Hamas still like being part of the whole leadership stuff. But like, I just have to clear something quickly because a lot of time has been wasted. I just have to clear something. The PS budget clearly has it that they literally give money to the same people who terrorize the Jews. And then it's more like Mr. Baguti is trying to, cover it up because he couldn't answer Douglas Murray's question. It's more like he's trying to cover it up to say that, oh, yeah, I get what he's trying to say. Obviously, you can't allow the family of, the terrorist to suffer for what the man's crime or whatever the man has done. Yeah, I get that. But it is really obvious that it's not just like you're literally paying them. It's kind of how it is. It's how it looks. I mean, it's clear and visible for all of us to see. You're literally paying them. It's more like people commit crimes and like they're in prison, but then they're receiving salaries. Like, it's crazy. And then you can answer the question on live TV. So you have to cover it up by saying you can allow the families of the terrorists to suffer. Like, it's a whole lot. But guys, this was a whole lot, and I want you guys to express yourself in the comment section. What is your thought and take on this? Please leave it down in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel. I love you guys.